Morning, this is the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board meeting. It's Wednesday, June 5th, and it's 9:05 a.m. Hope we're not here at p.m. Do we have any letters of communication, Wades?
Letters and communications to the board. You can see in your purple folder there, there's a letter from Congressman Owens regarding the fee amendment. There is a matter regarding St. Lawrence Factory Stores litigation, which we'll need to talk about in executive session. Commentary regarding the importance of the St. Lawrence Psychiatric Center that we submitted on behalf of the authority, and various news articles throughout the period.
Did my letter get submitted too? I didn't, was it, you know, Keisha?
I gave it to you that day, I don't know if you were gonna have it in
Okay.
there, so I don't know what.
Maybe I did hand it to them. Oh, I did.
That was what the
Yes.
plan was.
Yes, I did hand it to them specifically. Anything else, Wade?
No, sir.
Okay. Off camera, I just mentioned to the board here about communications with the city. I met with Mr. Pickard yesterday and some of the representatives for the development projects, whatever. City wants to keep us informed exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, and we're doing the same, and how some of the plans that we're having. So the coordination is moving, and it's very good communication, by the way. And so we're interested in what they're doing, and they're interested in what we're doing, and we're trying to work things out together. So some of the projects that make sense that we're doing doesn't overlap into their lap, and vice versa, whatever. So it's been a very good meeting yesterday. And there's a session this evening, a wrap-up session for their development plan, and our board is invited to that session, 7 o'clock at the Remington. Next on the agenda is approval of board minutes. Meeting on April 3rd.
I will move that.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any comments from anybody attending? Anybody? It's your first chance. Come out of the gate. Come out of.
I got nothing, I'm sorry.
Okay, I know. While you're here, one of the comments and things that whatever agenda items, whatever, is the update that I've heard on the St. Lawrence Psychiatric Center is, and maybe somebody has something different, whatever I heard, because I work there part-time once in a while, is July 8th. Have you heard the same thing?
Yes,
July
yes,
8th
I wrote a story to that effect last week.
Okay, and you know, we're up to date on that, whatever. Wholeheartedly, our support is that, and we're part of the future of Center for Excellence, and I hope that it works out for there, because we all know that the devastating effects of losing all those jobs. I'm not sure what the plan is. Sometimes you say if you can lose all of them, and then you only lose half. What's happened here before, you say that's not too bad, but we can't afford to lose any of those jobs, so I hope it works out in our favor. And I feel bad for people in other areas that are gonna lose their jobs, so that's the process. Staff reports.
Staff reports, you should have a copy in front of you here. A couple highlights I'd like to hit. As Sam mentioned, the St. Lawrence Psych Center, we're doing everything that we can to help support maintaining those 500 plus jobs. That's as big, if not bigger, than the jobs in our industrial park. That's important to do everything that we can there. I had the opportunity to participate in the Governor's Tax-Free New York program. That's the legislation initiative that was rolled out at SUNY Potsdam. Very interesting, may not have a lot of impact with us, but should have an impact here in the North Country. I look forward to briefing you on that as I receive more information. We need to continue to strive for MWBE compliance targets. Specifically, it looks like we ended the year at 6%, not 13.9%. We have a policy goal of 20%, so we need to do what we can there to step up our efforts. And one of those things you'll see is in the board's packet today. There's an item I'll brief you on in executive session, either this meeting if there's time or next meeting, regarding the Canadian Council. There's a regulatory issue there that I need to discuss with you. Other highlights, the website compliance stuff is done. We're up to speed there, and the bridge advocacy efforts remain a priority for the authority. On the port side of the business, we promoted the port at the Wind Energy Conference out in Chicago. Several leads were generated. There's a lot of follow-up going on right now with additional follow-up required. We met while we were in Chicago with a salt customer, just discuss how we can expand the business and improve on what we do. Several grants were written and submitted this period. I know John's gonna tell you about the Tiger grant that was done. I worked on the $850,000 rail bridge rehabilitation grant for the Racket and Grass River Bridge. There were 2 other grants related to the airport, and I've been working on an industrial park expansion project that I'll be happy to brief you about privately. Those are kind of the highlights of my report over the last month. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Wait, I got one. I applaud the staff on the work they're doing on the MWBE. Refresh my memory a little bit here. I see, like you said, we had a 13.6 in 2012, and our policy goal is 20%. If we have a project and we're reaching out to every MWBE contractor that we can, and nobody wants to bid on it, or nobody wants to get involved in a project, where do we go from there?
Then we apply for a waiver. There's a waiver process, and then we can use any contractor, any service provider.
In the effort that we put forth in trying to get a contractor, we get no credit for that, we get no...
That's correct. The only thing that we get quote-unquote credit for is the percentage at the end of the day.
So every project that we don't have one of these MWBEs apply for or put a contract, we have to get a waiver.
Yes. Yes.
There's one part of it, Doug, is if the value of, we'll just say, the certified person is such a price, so much greater than what we can get it at, that's a waiver process also. In other words, say, if we're gonna save, going to the WE thing, it's $100,000, and go the other way, I mean, we just, or whatever
Yep.
number it is. So we have the ability to make that type of choice, you know, what type of decision we wanna make doing that. I mean, and one of the things that we will talk here is really, some of our big ticket items, like say the insurance on the bridge. Was it like 120,000, something like that? So if we found somebody who is, MWE certified, that would really take care of our goal for the year, just one thing there, whatever. And it really complicates our process, because every time we turn around and look, you know, we have to do extra work to research this and find out whatever, so that's what Fred has to do until we get that 20%, so. I think our process is, I don't say it's different than it has been, and I think our staff is doing a good job looking at every route to get there or whatever. We're not happy with the 13.6%, there's no question about that, but I think we're gonna do a better job this year. We're gonna do a much better job, and I really believe our staff will find that goal number very much so.
Yeah, and I guess my concern is I wouldn't want this to hold up one of our projects. You know, we might have a project that we need to get done real quick, or get some paperwork in on, and if we don't have a company in the MWBE area, then, you know, where's that put us? Where's that?
There is a second choice, and that second choice is to use the bidders that we have, use the lowest bidder that we can get, and that just becomes part of the denominator and lowers the percentage. But if we can get to our goal without that one, that's a choice we can make. I mean, we would not hold up a project. We would go to the next project and try to get more than 20%, 100% on the next one or something, and make up for that, so.
But most of that stuff is already built into the bid specs.
Yes.
Contractors know they have to meet these criteria too.
Right.
So it kinda takes it away from the authority. We're the policeman of that, to make sure that the contractor meets those qualifications. If the contractor doesn't, then there's penalties in there for the contractor. So it all falls back into the bidding procedures to make sure there's proper notification on the minority issues. The issues have always been there for the last 25, 30 years, this minority thing. They've made it bigger, they want 20% now. So now you got to, it's not changed the structure of how it's done, it's how it's policed. And if your contractors are not in compliance, then we must take our necessary thing to make sure that is notified to the people. How the contractor gets out of that, I don't know. That's up to him. He could end up with a penalty, but it shouldn't penalize us. We should go ahead with the project.
Well, I think has been one change in that it is all of our discretionary spend, not just projects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got that resolution coming up today.
Right.
And once you hit your 20% goal, we hit that 20%, do we continue to reach out to MWBEs, or
Yeah,
do
still
we?
have
It's an ongoing and
Okay.
continuous
Yes.
process.
Okay, all right, thanks.
It's interesting, because the same question we
You know-
asked them, that you just asked.
Mr. Chairman, if I may suggest
Sure.
something, maybe we should get the board members a copy of those rules and procedures that we gotta follow. Just so they can have it to look through it and might help them a little bit, you know? Some night they might be sitting there reading.
We'll make a note, and we'll get you electronically a copy of our MWBE procedure and also our procurement procedure, both of which are also available online in our policy section.
They're also in the governance books.
Yes.
Now, we have local people in the area, Doug, I just share this with you, that has already sent us letters. That they're certified. They're right here, right within a mile. But I don't know how that's gonna work out.
Anything more, Wade? Good question, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay, I think we're up to you, Fred, please.
The expectation was that we would have a presentation from Tosky and Company today, our auditors. That's been delayed. We would like to have a special meeting next Wednesday, if that's possible, Wednesday morning early for that presentation. The delay is a result of compliance with GASB 65 and the combining the financials with the border station and the bridge. So it just held them up enough to where they just couldn't make it by today.
Okay, so, let's talk about that meeting. So they'll be here for a presentation, they need to be notified ASAP, or they've been notified?
They've been notified of next Wednesday. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't set it in stone because I hadn't had the opportunity to talk with Don.
Okay, so,
In his position as chairman of the audit committee, wanted to make sure you could be here. So we haven't set a time or the date for sure, but
okay,
I have indicated to them it's Wednesday.
well,
Wednesday at 8 o'clock work for everybody?
8 o'clock, earlier good for you, or?
I have a web seminar on trust that from 10, that starts at 10, so I don't, would it be more than 2 hours?
No, I don't think so.
8 would work. I just have to log in.
8 o'clock is better for you then, obviously.
Yeah, I have to log in
All
at
right,
like
let's look at 8
9:45,
o'clock.
so.
Okay.
So when is Don gonna meet with them, at 7?
6:30?
Why not 6:15?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, I mean, he usually has a
Do
meeting.
you normally have a pre-meeting with them before the meeting?
In the past, we've had an exit conference when they left the field.
Right.
We didn't get that this year.
Right.
And then they've done their presentation, and I think one other year we missed out on the exit conference. I had a couple of questions, and we did them in the general meeting, so I think
Okay.
we can do the same thing.
Okay. I'm sure they will arrive the night before. I don't think they're traveling.
Well, I
that early
don't
that
wanna see,
morning.
you know, I know that the chairman's always met with them before, and I don't wanna,
I'm a little uncomfortable deviating from past procedure. I mean, if they're gonna be here the night before, can we see about setting up a closing conference?
Sure.
Just that way we're.
That would be the 11th.
I don't have a problem with that,
Okay.
if they're willing to do that.
Okay. I think I can get that set up for you.
So let me see if I'm straight here. We have a meeting at 8 in the morning, and then you're gonna have a conference with them in the evening?
The evening before.
Evening before, okay.
I won't, it'll be with
Yeah.
Don.
Strictly with Don.
Okay,
I think.
okay.
who's on the committee with them?
Steve's on the committee with me.
There, Don and Steve.
There you go.
What time?
I'd like to keep that policy.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna depend on when they arrive in town, I would think.
Mhm.
I don't know what their plans would be, but if they,
They can make their plans around you, I would think.
if they be up here,
That's for me.
I will send you an email.
Okay.
Let's see, Karen is back to work, maternity leave. Parish reporting is due by June 30th, as you know. That's one of the reasons that we pushed the audit forward so that everything would be done and approved, and, so that our parish reporting is done on time. I did put a copy of that GASB 65 in the information here, just for your information. And I also distributed the bridge report, or the bridge traffic report. It's only for April. Yesterday or Monday and Tuesday, I told Jessica, make sure people get paid first, and this bridge traffic compiled second, and it didn't get done for May. But April is in there with an 8% increase in autos. Trucks down 1.7 for an increase of 7.25% for April. At the airport, Patrick Edwards is in the reserves, and he's been at training, so he did not report the May numbers yet. But in April, we were up 60 passengers, or 7% from the year before. Any questions?
Fred, are we gonna get, monthly financial reports anymore?
Yes, but what you would have got this month would have been the audited statements. We can't close the general ledger for April until March is finished, because that affects, all of the balance sheet accounts and the retained earnings and things like that. That has to be closed first. So yes, you'll have, at the July meeting, you'll have June's, so it'll be the first quarter.
Alright, so we'll
But
get,
that's kind of the way it's been in past years also, that until the audit is complete. But this year you'll get them 1 month sooner, because June will be available, where normally I think the first one you got was July.
okay, thanks.
I'm not,
Any extra copies?
Oh. I made 11 and
in our packet there, Fred, there was something about all the crossings. We were the highest percentage of crossings of PI Bridge and all the other ones.
yes, our increase
Percentage.
was the best,
Yeah,
yes.
12%.
Yeah. Oh. Any
And
other
I think
questions?
Mr. Owens supported a resolution that they would not tax people who come through the port. I think that was in there also. I think that's important to note, that there wasn't a tax or a fee for people who come across through the port, whatever. And obviously that would jeopardize, I guess, economic growth in a particular area, discourage people from using that system or ever come across, whatever. So I think that's, Representative Owens should be acknowledged for that. I think that's a very big step for our area, because we really want people to come across our bridge and, and vice versa.
Absolutely, and I would add that there's two correspondences related to that in the board file there.
Yeah. Sorry, Fred, you got,
You
done?
Any other
You
questions
you had enough, huh? Okay, I'll turn the page. That's it. John Reese, you're up.
As Wade mentioned, we had a very good 4-day conference for wind power in Chicago, and several leads were developed. I met with the Canadian Grain Company up in Toronto. We had productive discussions there, and they'll be coming up this summer to take a look at the facilities. I had a US-based grain company in town here and toured the facilities. They also saw potential. They're just getting started out though, so it may take some time for opportunities to arrive. Citrus pulp is coming in. We met with the salt company in Chicago, and that was a very productive meeting. Steve's talked to him, I've talked to him, it's the first time we've met face to face, so it was a good meeting. Working on a large transformer shipment, one transformer, and we're hoping to get that business. There's 3 companies that are looking at the Wagner Road site in terms of wood processing facilities. They're all in their very preliminary stages. It's just inquiries, so it's not anything that's progressed that much. Tiger 5 application was written for $8.8 million in funding through the federal government. We continue to work with a manufacturing company that's expressed an interest in being here, and I would expect that probably sometime this month they'll be up again with one of their top executives to take a look at the sites and have further discussions, so that's progressing. Went to a trade show with the county in Toronto, and a couple of prospects were developed there. I'm working with an Ottawa-based company that has an interest in space in building 1, and with any luck I might have something for you for the July meeting. A couple statewide leads that we filled out. About 3 smaller firms that are looking at space. And I started discussions on the mailing that we talked about at the marketing meeting. I've met with, I had a meeting with the different companies that provide services to the park, and they have quite a bit of interest, and we're appreciative that we were gonna include a flyer with their services in there, and that's being developed now. So. That's all I have.
John, I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Getting back to the Taggart grants, the last I knew, about a couple of months ago, we were in there for a Taggart grant of $15 million. Where, is this a new one? Is this a different one, or did we lower our number, or what's the deal?
Yes, we lowered our number because of the amount of the match. It would have required a lot of match. And on the past projects, the past Tiger grants were written, we had the match because we had a $20 million project going on. This time we don't have any project going on, so whatever we do, even though we're a rural area, we don't have to provide a match. Everybody's providing at least a 20 or 30 or 40% match. So it would have to come directly from the authority. The state wouldn't put any funds in. So we tried to keep it, to a smaller project that was more competitive and less of a match and burden on the authority.
Just to add to that, there's also, we did submit a separate application in New York State DOT, the STEP program, for $15 million for the bridge. These are two separate programs. Same project, 2 separate programs, 2 different applications.
Okay, tell me what the match is on the 8 million here, 9 million.
2.2.
2 what?
2.2, I believe.
What is that, Fred, in numbers?
A lot of money. A lot of cash. A lot of, or in kind, most likely too.
Well, the reason I'm asking these questions is because I don't wanna miss anything, because, if we get the money, then we may have to go to a bank and get the match.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yes.
I don't wanna miss something because
Yeah.
you're thinking, well, we can't match that. That's not true. We might have to take an initial move here to go out and get the money at a bank or whatever.
Right.
And we have bonding and we have credit lines right now in place. So I just don't wanna miss anything here, that's what I'm trying to say. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
If I can get 8 million or 9 million or 15 million, and I gotta pay a percentage, that percentage might be out there, we could do it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna miss the grant money.
The other thing, just to be aware of, in general, the grant rules have changed. The days of 100% grant or
Right.
90-10 is gone.
That's why I said we may have to do something here differently. Now, surely if we can't come up with the match, then we don't get the money. But if we come up with the match, we get the money. I'd rather get the money and worry about the match later, how we pay for it later. That's all I wanted to ask.
The question I have is our bridge traffic has picked up quite a bit of people come up over here and picking up packages and stuff, whatever. Has there been any interest for any of those operations come to us to look for space or anything in our area, so it's be a whole lot closer and easier to come off the bridge and,
Yeah, everybody's gotten into the business. Strader Ferris has a big sign up with a new website that, is providing that service. The Ogdensburg Shipping Center in Building 1 is providing that service.
okay, yeah. I saw that.
So those two in particular, and we have gotten some inquiries, from other companies too that are looking to do cross-docking and
Yeah.
that type of service.
So we haven't reached out, but they've come and,
All the existing businesses have gotten, are trying to get into that business as well, and in our industrial park, so.
well, like a major company like UPS, are they interested in it? Or, have they approached us, or we approached them, or FedEx, no, not FedEx, but,
UPS I've talked to in the past about,
okay.
the
so
possibility of a standalone building down here or something like that.
I know that's one of the.
Ultimately, that's his goal, but not right now, so.
Well, I just wonder if it's stewing out there that,
Yeah.
To help everybody. Okay. Anything else for John? Steve, please?
I'll just touch on a few things from each of the areas that, we're working with. In the industrial park, we've got a gas meter installation that's complete as of today. And, that's to better define, what the utility costs are in that. So, that's, like I said, that's, instead of the end of June, that's done right now. At the border station, just general repairs there, nothing major there. One item with the bridge, the new crew members are in, they're trained. We've got 2 crews, one's doing repair and painting on the Canadian side on bridge floor beams, and the others are doing routine annual maintenance. And that's sped up some things on as opposed to our usual time frame, so that's working out really well. At the airport, basically last month was about inspection and audits. We had a FAA inspection and certification. There were no major discrepancies there. We also had a TSA security audit, and that went well. And and the other thing is, we are working on our security plan and trying to nail that down. At the port, the project that we worked on, and we got the canola meal in, we stored and took in and shipped out 8,900 tons of canola meal, and that's all completed. And right behind that, as John mentioned, we had a client that came in, and to date now, we've replaced that canola meal with 2,500 tons of citrus pulp. And that just keeps us going during slow times, but it's been a great help as far as the everyday things. It causes greater utilization of manpower and equipment. We also had a DEC underground storage tank inspection. Up here, the tanks at the bridge are above ground, so there's really no, everything you see there you can take care of. But since we still have underground storage tanks, there's a lot of requirements with that as far as monitoring. And the DEC does that probably once every 2 years, so I spent a half a day with them. And so far, no discrepancies noted, but there'll be some things there. I think in the future, we need to look at possibly going above ground with tanks not as large as what we have in the ground. But there's all kinds of extra costs involved with that, but just to give you a heads up with that. But as it stands now, the facility's fine, and there's no issues there, but it's getting older, and just to give you a heads up on that.
Steve, where are those tanks stored right now?
You know where the maintenance building is and where the pumps?
Out here?
No, they're
Down
down at the port.
Port.
The old scale is right there. Well,
Yeah.
parallel to that is there's 3 pumps there. One of them's regular leaded fuel, which there's very little in that one. The other 2 are diesel and unleaded. And to the east of them, toward the treatment plant, right in the ground, there's 2 500-gallon 500-gallon tanks in the ground, and the 1,000-gallon tank is the diesel tank. And they're double walled, they have fiberglass piping and things like that, but you've gotta monitor them just to make sure nothing's happened to them. But in the last 3 years, the DEC's really been on everybody with underground tanks, and they are encouraging people to, get them out of the ground, just because
Now, what do we have out here?
those are, they're all 1,000-gallon tanks. One is leaded, that's the same deal there, that's really just it has a little bit of leaded fuel in that, and then the other ones are unleaded and diesel, and they're 1,000-gallon tanks. We use the two daily, the diesel and the unleaded.
They're underground?
No, they're above ground, double wall containers, they're right on a pad, you can see them right out
Okay.
there.
So there's nothing underground out here no more?
The only issue, we do have fiberglass piping underground up to the pump, and that's the only thing we've gotta keep an eye on there, but other than that, everything's above ground.
We still have one monitoring well left?
A couple wells monitoring that the
And they-
environmental spill from,
Right.
from the underground tanks from
Right.
before,
I got a few questions here, whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fred.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Some of the things we had in our capital project, whatever type of things, whatever, this building here, what are we doing this summer on this building as far as what we,
We're working on carpeting. There's some minor improvements to the heating system, just more valving and things like that. And we did put away some money, although not quite, we've gotta look at the painting and the slate roofing, and that's a specialty item with that. But we are having some issues with roof leaks last winter that we've gotta deal with.
okay.
But nothing other than, just.
Well, to me, the overall exterior of this building, I mean, it needs a facelift to some degree of painting, scraping, whatever.
Yeah, that was eliminated. We used to have a mason in here, and probably 5-6 years ago, that was all eliminated, and all we do is touch-up painting. That was what, all we do is touch-up painting now. We used to have a mason come in, you see where those brick and everything were kind of.
We can bring a
pockmarked.
touch-up brush because you need a lot of,
Yeah.
we need a lot of work in this building outside.
Yeah.
But you do have touch-up painting scheduled for this summer.
Yeah,
correct?
I've got aerial lift come in, and we do it every year. We
Well,
pressure wash
I
it.
thought we were approaching this building, I don't know, we put like $50,000 away or something toward this?
No,
something?
we reduced that.
We had to reduce that because of the capital plan.
Yeah, the capital plan,
So
I think it's
originally it was
20%.
under-
I think it's half for that way, 25 or 30, but to take care of those issues that I talked about,
Oh, we're just Band-Aiding the building again.
It's just been, Fred can tell you, we're just in a tough situation with this building, we
Well, let me
Band-Aid.
ask you this question, the money that you have, let's just say we just took care of this side of the building, and the face, whatever, scraped the walls, whatever, repaint one wall, do you have enough money to do that?
Oh, sure, I know I can,
I mean, to me, just start
I
somewhere,
understand.
work your way around, whatever,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
if we don't have
yeah.
the money to do all that.
no, we can do that, as far as the touch-up goes, some areas have held up better than others,
Oh,
but
sure. The
we
wind
kinda
and
go
so on,
year to
yeah.
year, whichever looks worse, that's where we
Yeah.
put the concentration on. No, we're fine with that, as far as,
Okay,
know,
well, I just
dressing it
wondered
up.
if, what we're gonna do there, cause I know we talked about it at the board here, what are we gonna do next, whatever. Okay, mower system, I know you and I talked about a mower system, okay? How's everything working with the type of mowers that we have? Do we need anything else different as far as machinery to save labor time and everything?
yeah.
Is there something that
Like
we,
you and I have talked, and added Jacobson mower two, with, our regular full-time people running them, really would, it would save a lot of time. But they're pretty costly, we get them through state contract, but before, I think right when Wade got here, we were using those, you see on the side of the road, the rotary
Yeah.
flail mowers,
Yeah,
yeah.
flips?
And those tractors were heavy, we were mowing, so say you got a heavy rain and things like that, there were days you just
Oh,
couldn't
wow.
mow. And you can't, side hills and things like that, well, the year you got here, we purchased a Jacobson for like, I think it was $38,000. And, we were mowing, I don't know, 4 to 7 acres depending, in a day with the thing. Now, what's happened, it's slowed a little bit only because that unit has mowed a lot of grass, but it's been a lifesaver as far as, and we maintain grass better. We're able to get on it quicker, and it slide slopes and things. It's 4-wheel drive, so it doesn't slide, but it's made for just what we
What would
we
an
do.
extra one mean as far as labor time savings? I mean,
Oh.
it seems to me, I mean, I don't wanna be critical in this type of meeting, whatever, but sometimes, you know, your visual effect, if you watch somebody mow a field with a 42 or 48 inch lawnmower, is not a cost-effective way to handle a
No.
large field, per se, whatever. I know there's certain areas you have to have that lawnmower,
Sure.
I'm not saying that, whatever.
Right.
And I know the person, whoever has, is mowing because we have to mow, but I mean, to me, I'm saying to myself, it takes 5 hours to mow something, and with the Jacobs, it only takes me an hour, it doesn't take long to do the math, the
Right.
savings, the labor savings that you have.
Yeah,
to
and you
do
may
that.
not, you may have 2 days of Jacobson mowing, and because you're all done, you can take those guys and do
Yeah,
some other things, whereas now, basically, with the Jacobson, that's going all the time, and you may have somebody on a John Deere or weed eating or different things with that. The one thing you could do, you know, if you had 2 of them, I could see from our standpoint, is those areas where you want more finish, you know, maybe for 2 hours, you'd go a little bit slower out front and you get a better finish on that, or you lower
yeah, I mean,
that type of thing, and you might get a really good, you know how I was saying about finish
Yeah.
mowing, but there may be a point where, you know, you get a better cut with that.
Now, Fred, I know you've been working on the numbers on that. There's an 8-to-1 efficiency. You wanna speak to
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yes, because we had talked about this, I looked into that, and it is about 8-to-1, so if you were mowing the same field, you'd do it, what would take 8 hours with the John Deere 42-inch cut would take 1 hour.
You're at
with the Jacobson, so,
9 feet, 11 feet with the Jacobs.
so.
And
There's
it's all-
another part of that, the stress you're putting on the John Deere
Oh, yeah.
is going to negate any of the savings maybe that you're making because you haven't purchased the bigger machines. So there's more savings than just the hourly saving
Right.
in terms of the stress on the lesser machine.
Right. And the reason it's not exactly, 42 inches versus 140, you'd think it would be 3.5, is that there's more speed involved with the
Right.
Jacobson. You can go faster than you can with the John Deere. So those two combine to make that about 8 times more.
And actually
Yeah.
with the 4-wheel drive and the flotation tires on that, you can go more places with that than you could in your regular John Deere, you know, point loading on it is, ground pressure is a lot less, so.
We call it Jacobson, but there is other manufacturers. There's
Yeah,
Ruby
we just
in the
haven't-
bidding, John Deere makes
I
them.
tried
and,
to stay away from the name myself.
Right,
for
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
that
Yeah,
reason.
Yeah.
well, I think it's something, I mean, I know we're in the mowing season now, and things slow down in July or whatever, and then September, October, we finish up whatever we wanna be, but I'd like you to, maybe as the board here, whatever, look at that a little bit and see if that's something that makes sense to, doesn't take long, like you say, labor time, whatever, to, you almost pay for your lawnmower or mowing system by just using better equipment to do the type of things, and I think you agree with that. It's just,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I mean, this isn't about our employees or something, they're not doing something right, they're working hard trying to make things
Sure.
happen with what they have, but maybe we should do a better job and give them better equipment to work with so they can do the job better. I mean, if you're saving 6 hours or 5 hours, whatever you wanna do, obviously there's some other maintenance work that
Yeah.
we're letting go to help you do those type of things, I mean, to help you to do those type of things, so. I don't know if we got some numbers that we think we could get to,
I
not
can-
for this year, I don't think
I
we're.
can do that right now, we can
Yeah.
go through
Oh,
state
maybe.
contract and
Why don't we go ahead and put the numbers together on that? We've got the elements of it already done. We'll just bring it before
Oh,
the
do you?
next facilities committee meeting.
Okay, Fred.
One of the things that, Steve, I've asked for is, I've said it several times, is there areas that we should be putting in agriculture? You know, there's a lot of fields out here, there's a lot of places that we could let grow and have the farmers cut the hay off like they used to. And I still think that that's something we should be able to look at, is to try to take care of agriculture. Now, there might even be tons of acreage we could put into corn or put into something. I mean, I know you don't wanna see that out in front of your building.
Hope not.
Well, they used to cut these fields for hay. I mean, this year especially. I mean, they're cutting hay now, already. All the way up to Hammond the other day, all the fields were cut. And farmers are chopping it. You know, I mean, it's just something to think about. I mean, we have a lot of land here that could be used for hay or chop it and feed it. There may be people out there interested in that. And another thing is, you know, I heard what you said about the new machines and stuff, but yet I'm not sold on that particular idea because I don't see the labor costs going down. I see some labor freeing up that you can use these folks in other places. So the cost of labor is not really going down, it's just being moved around.
Your utilization goes up with your manpower.
But,
Right,
you know,
right.
and I see these new machines going 20, 25 miles an hour out there on the lawn. You know, I'm not too sure that's the safest thing in the world either, you know what I mean? But there's a couple areas you can look at, and you also can look back at when you put it out for bid. Maybe there's some of this we should be putting out to bid for private contractors. You know, maybe somebody should, 4 years, 5 years ago, we had bids in from people. Maybe we should revisit that too, because maybe there's some people, because you take 35,000 for that one machine, it's gonna be used 3 months at the most, you know?
Yeah, a little more than that, but,
Well, okay.
yeah. But I mean, you know, whatever.
You know, I'm not interested in spending a lot of money on machinery if we don't need it. Maybe we ought to look at some other ideas too, since you brought it up about buying new machines. And,
Well, as long as we're exploring it, we should explore all the areas
Right.
and see what would be the best for us.
Especially
rather
the
than
airport.
Make a quick judgment. I would say this, though, that if you can free up your crew from doing this, then they're likely to save you money in another area. Let's just talk about the deterioration of the building. If they could then put their efforts at that, it doesn't get deteriorated as fast, blah, blah, blah. So there's trickle-down effect on that. But I think we should examine, as Fred says, the different possibilities so that we aren't jumping into something and then saying a year later, well, we could have maybe done it differently. And I don't think that would be that difficult to perhaps put those numbers together and look at what would be the best for the authority.
Great, we'll get that done up and we'll get it before the committee.
Just one question, is most of the grass cut in the summer by the summer employees or our regular employees?
We've
Or
got
both?
kind of both, but we don't have the regular, most of the grass, I would say, would be cut by the college kids as far as, and then we do have, 2 people that are involved in the cutting either at the airport or support over here. I've got 2 union people that are
Okay.
kind of involved in that, and the rest, probably 5 to 6 kids handle the rest.
And I think, I don't know if there's such a thing as leasing machines, but maybe we should look at the possibility of that as well as owning machines.
875, Fred, to answer your question.
okay.
But, you know, one of the things with ergonomics is efficiency of what your operation does, whatever. I mean, if you sit there, Steve, and I'm not telling you what to do, but you're the expert at it, but if you look at man hours, okay, what people do and what they do for you, and if at the end of the day, you look at it and you say, wait a minute, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done, I didn't get that done, okay, no, the manpower do that, whatever. Somewhere along the line, you make a decision, you say, all right, what does technology do for me? What does technology do for me? I mean, that's the assessment you have to make. You say, no, wait a minute, I'm not getting this done, I'm not getting that done. You come back to us and say, wait a second, I need this because this is what's happening to me. I mean, we got buildings over there, I don't say that they need some work.
Mm-hmm.
They need some work. And you know, you say, what are we doing here? Do we have the manpower? Do I wanna spend the guy riding the lawnmower, or do I wanna spend him doing maintenance work that, okay, that makes you whatever? So, you know, you make your recommendation to us also, what makes sense to you. Because that's what it comes down to. And I don't live it, you do. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Are you done with your report? I didn't sure if you.
Yes.
I got one other question.
Yep.
Please. Steve, you mentioned the bridge crews, and you got them all up and running and training and all that in place. You've got 2 crews.
Yes.
What's the manpower in 2 crews?
I've got 7 people, and then we do have summer kids that are flaggers.
No, but what is the size of the crews?
They're 4 and 3.
4 and 3?
Yeah.
And we have 1 supervisor.
No, the 4 would be the supervisor, and then
So you got 3 and 3,
3 and 3, yeah.
and plus the students,
Yeah.
college
for-
students.
For
Okay.
the
Okay.
boat and the flagging.
No, I just know that you got them split up and stuff like that. You said one on one side, one on the other, and doing different things. I was just wondering the size of the crews and.
Well, some of that crew is, the new positions we just
Yes.
hired,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, and they're all, we're quite pleased with the choices we made so far. The three that we picked have, all working out real well.
Did that company get a hold of you from?
Yes, they brought a flyer by, they've got some, really good stuff with that.
Sam and me spent probably 2 hours with those guys showing us how to jump off how the bridge safety stuff works. And we were really amazed about that one thing if a guy was to fall, how he can get himself out of trouble. And then it was really something to see
Yeah.
how that really works.
Yeah.
I don't think we want to test it though. But, no. I mean, this guy physically walked off a windmill and fell 320 feet.
Yeah.
It was,
He had his own escape system with a vinyl rope and stuff, all type of things that show how he hooked off the one, released the pressure off one line, hooked his line on the other line, and just repelled down the line. That's real,
you can either go back up or go back down.
yeah, you can do whatever you want.
It was beautiful that it was, and I didn't realize
You
it.
saw him do this?
Yeah, oh yeah. We stayed there and watched the whole thing. Well, what was interesting about it is I didn't know, and I don't know if anybody else knew, but I didn't know, and I've been in construction all my life, that once you fall with this strapping on, this takes all the shock, these straps in certain areas. Boom! And you don't feel really nothing. But that harness is done now. You can take it back and send it back to them, and then they'll redo that harness for you. But that guy does not get hurt. Because I was just looking at it, I said, if you fall that far, that's got to be an awful jar on your body. It's not. There's like shock things in it, and they showed us how all that worked. So I just wanted to say, they did get all, that's
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
that's good. And that's all the United States made,
Yeah. Yeah, you said that.
100%.
Yeah. Sam, one item I didn't mention, tomorrow night, we'll have our first salt vessel in. That's the
Okay.
Captain Henry Jackman, and I'll be in somewhere between 10 and midnight, and that's what it's scheduled for. So there'll be some salt relocation activity going on,
Okay.
next week.
Did you wanna talk about the salt contracts at all, or yet?
Yeah, when we get to the agenda.
Okay, all right.
I'm good.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Chairman.
Dave, thank you. Okay, facilities committee met this morning, wanna give us an update on that, Fred, exactly?
Well, we have two issues to come to the full board, and let the executive director talk about that.
Okay.
And the committee approved them for the full board action.
Okay.
One minor scheduling note, item C2 was held over in the facilities committee for later action. So just cross that off your list if you would.
So that's what's on there. Any unfinished business?
There's
Oh,
Just
sorry.
want to ask you, the finance committee met, went
Oh, I'm
over
sorry about that, Steve. Thank you.
materials that were provided monthly, and we have no questions, everything's fine.
Thanks, Steve. So you anything on marketing? Nothing?
It was, I think, Wade was discussing that major marketing thing with, an action item today.
Okay. All right, no unfinished business. We talked about scheduling our next meeting being June 10th. At, June 10th. Yeah, June 10th.
be June 12th at
Oh,
8
that's
AM.
right.
June 12th.
I
For the
wrote
audit.
down over here. Thank you. I want to see if you guys are listening. And how's July 10th look, folks?
Fine with me.
Fine.
Let's do
Still
that.
okay, 8 AM for facilities, 9 AM board?
Yes.
Does that work?
Do you have summer hours? I mean, some place has summer hours, you come in at 7 and leave early in the day and so on. Okay. Did you ever want those?
We'd be here anyway. So,
Oh, I'm just saying, I mean, so, I mean, I'm just saying, some people have, some organizations have summer hours or, whatever, I don't know. I think obviously there wasn't interest because I didn't see anybody jump out of their seat. Steve, would you like summer hours?
I have some around.
You're gonna have it anyways, you're gonna work over in our,
Yeah.
I knew that, see, I knew I got you in at 7, you're still gonna leave at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, aren't you?
Just some around.
Nice try, Sam. Okay, all right, Wade, take it through the, business items.
Here, just a moment.
Yeah, I gotta find my way through.
Okay, we're over on page 3 of your packet. Page 3 of your packet's general business item A1, this approval of an industrial building lease with Dr. Gabriel at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you, June 1st of this year through May 31st of next year. And the corresponding map is on page 4.
This is a new company?
He's a doctor who was sharing space with Dan Dodge up there. We allowed him to share some space and kind of incubated him and decided he wanted his own space, so he's a new tenant. And pleased with his office and everything, so. Psychologist or psychiatrist or something there.
I'd make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Agenda item A2 on page 5 is a very similar agreement. This is a lease supplement with Dan Dodge, who's been here at the authority for many years. Term of the agreement would be July 1st through June 30th of 2014 at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
I'll move that.
Second.
What's the monthly rate on something like this?
$2,043 divided by 12.
2,040 by 12, okay. Okay, any further questions, comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All the ayes.
Next item is a ratification of agreement with Velatus Law Firm. This is for an assistance with authority's ongoing economic development efforts, including grant writing and strategic plan and government officials' work. Everything there is pretty much self-explanatory, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Probably should mention the term of the engagement. Term of the engagement would be June 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013.
Tell me why it increased, that's all I want.
What's the number value?
The number I got here was 26,000 in their presentation, and now we got 27.5. Am I looking at it wrong?
No, it should be 26.
Should be $26,000.
Yeah, because you can see it over on page 10. Page 10, under the rates and expenses, that first paragraph, last sentence, all invoices will be payable on a monthly billing cycle for cost over the 6-month term of $26,000.
Is just modification wrong, or what's the deal there? Is it 26 or 27.5?
I believe it's 26. The document says 26, but
This
the
is the one you
agenda-
signed and he signed.
If you add up the
Well, then, there's something wrong with adding
well, the
then.
problem is that these,
The numbers that you have on your report part
right,
Don't match the
aren't
numbers.
correct, doesn't line up. You're $1,500 over.
So we're
Yeah,
just
So
there's-
maybe they're all $400?
There's 7 months in here, and the agreement's for 6 months. The agreement is actually says on page 10 of our thing, June 15th through December 15th. So it's a 6-month agreement, we have 7 months here.
Right, but the original docket from the
It
company
is
says,
26,000.
and that's what I wanna pay.
So these numbers are.
You're $4,000
Well, yeah.
a month, not 4,500.
Yeah, the
That
last
should be
2
good.
months are supposed, yeah.
Yeah.
Five.
Suggestion to fix this under the report section, that sentence would read, the term of this agreement is June 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2013. and fees associated with this agreement shall not exceed $26,000.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you for catching that.
I got that in the middle of the night.
Well, it's $1,500 toward that lawnmower.
I knew that was coming. You're wrong. Stay away from Steve.
Hey, Steve, I see how, he's helping us. You see how he's.
Used stuff.
But he's looking
That's
for
right,
two
take all
more
that money, Steve,
for a
I'll
small
even go for
attraction.
two more.
Okay. Hope the bid's coming high.
All right, what do we got
The agreement
next?
is where she,
Uh,
so the agreement's gotta be
Need a
changed.
motion.
We need a motion.
I'll move it.
All right, we have a motion from
Second.
Doug.
The only thing
second. Go ahead, Jim.
I read it over and I just didn't know if Tiger could be added, or if that would just naturally happen, that they would advocate for that, or it would affect the price, or.
It won't affect the price. I know they also have a copy of our staff application for the $15 million. We'll give them a copy of the Tiger application as well.
Maybe for the public way to exactly explain why we did this and the purpose of somebody who specializes into this type of work.
Well, this provides the authority with the professional support to reach our goals, particularly on the grant programs associated with our capital project plan. I mean, there's not really much more to say than that. That's really what they do.
Well, what I got out of the presentation was the specific nomenclature of names and people and things that they do, and the contacts with all these type of organizations. I mean, they just knew who did what, whatever. And I think that was type of things that they've already interacted with a lot of agencies and people and situations that make those type of choices and decisions. So I think that's what they brought to the table more than something and they know how to get to A to Z that, I don't say we can't get there, but obviously they have more effective, a way of doing it. So that's what I got out from that presentation.
And Mr. Chairman, it's also June 15th to December 15th. We have the 1st to the 31st. The contract calls for June 15th to December 15th, because otherwise if you do the 1st to the 31st,
Month and a half,
that adds an extra,
half month.
yeah. So it should be June 15th to December
Alright.
15th.
The other thing is, I don't know which document we're actually gonna use, the one that, if you go to page 14 in your packet, they talk about June 5th. And they have their fee schedule there, so it's all kind of contradictory to each.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the elements of the agreement are, it's not to exceed
Right.
6 months, and it's not to exceed $26,000.
Well, I know they already started. Even though the contract says whatever it says, they've already started, so I guess what the ending date is probably at this point in time is more important than whatever date. And obviously the numbers, are the numbers that you're gonna pay, and I'm glad you picked that up, Fred. Showed that also. Any further comments, questions?
I would like to say one thing. I think, Mr. Chairman, you brought a good thing to the board with this. I think it's gonna be a home run for us. I was very, very impressed with this company. And like I said, at the bottom line, if we can take and pay $26,000 to get pretty near $4 million, it's well worth spending that money. Now, this is the first step towards one of the goals that we've been talking about, is having our own person in-house writing grants and doing stuff. Maybe these folks got the answer. This is just the tip of the iceberg on some of this stuff. And it might free up more time for John if these guys come home with this thing. We can give them different assignments, help him out a little bit where he isn't doing all of that type of work and filing in these things. And also be able to work together on projects in the near future. So let's see what this one brings us. This is a good one right here. And let me tell you, it's gonna be a tough one because I know how the money's structured and I know the politics behind the DOT on this. So let's see what happens. It's a great investment we made, and he was positive, very positive, and I like the way he writes his agreements, how he stands behind this company, and I've got nothing, I think they're gonna hit a home run here. That's my feelings. And I don't usually give that to anybody. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
As long as it's not a home run for the Boston Red Sox, that's fine.
The Boston Red Sox.
Oh, I mean, they could go all the way here. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Doug,
Yeah.
Second, Don.
John seconded.
Yeah,
That's good.
I didn't hear the vote again.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, I heard all the ayes, thank you. Because I know the noes are out of order, I heard that earlier today. Noes are out of order. Okay.
All right, this brings us over to agenda item A4 on page 17. This is the approval of minimum bid amounts for surplus property. It's required by our policy that for surplus property, minimum bids be established. We met with the facilities committee earlier today, and on the 5 items you see there, we established minimum bids.
I'd just like to note one thing, as I mentioned it earlier, I'd just like maybe kind of put it on the record a little bit. It seems that we do a good job with our equipment, 1983, 30 years old, and he still wants $750 for it. I don't know, the nuts and bolts are holding it together. But anyways, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve this.
Have motion approved, need a second?
I'll second.
Steve, thank you. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I heard all the ayes.
Next item is on page 19, it's agenda item A5, it's approval of agreement with Revenue Markets. These are toll system folks. You've seen this each year, some of the folks on the board here. The annual contract price for the year April 1st, 2013 through March 31st, 2014 is $14,160. It's the 5th consecutive year they've held this price. In addition to this, there is an Oracle support fee of $1,920 billed to the authority. And what this covers is unlimited phone support, warranties on the software updates, real-time monitoring capabilities, and off-site data retrieval. And the agreement is located on page 20 through 22.
Now, what about asking them as far as MWB certified and all that stuff?
Next question.
This contract is exempt because of the length of it. It started 5 years ago, and it qualifies under an exemption.
So when does it expire?
Well,
2014?
Right, but
Okay.
because we put this equipment in, and these are the only people that can service it, this.
Oh, this is their product?
Proprietary and so
This is
forth.
their
This is
product, this is their,
proprietary.
okay, so they really have ownership to it? Now, what happens if we didn't want them anymore?
We'd have to find someone who could support it, because we need,
Okay,
we-
no, what-
that
well,
needs to work.
But that leads us to next year, so
Right.
next year at this time, what's the question I'm gonna ask? Okay, obviously their equipment,
Mhm.
what's their certification, are they maybe, or are they, or we don't know?
We don't know, but if we were to change our toll system sometime in the future, then that would be the time that we would look for an MWBE firm to provide the toll equipment.
You said system. You
System.
take all the hardware and all
Yeah.
the stuff out of there and start another system? Oh, my.
Yeah,
What would that be?
So we added something to the toll booth, as I think we discussed there a year ago or something, about possibly like an easy pass on a throughway at our toll booth. If we did something like that, this company would handle that?
No, this,
Would monitor it, or?
each, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. Think of this as like an IBM and a Macintosh. The IBM is serviced only by IBM, the Macintosh is only serviced by Mac. What you're looking at here is the revenue markets. We have a revenue market system out there right now in the toll booth. It's a dated system and eventually does need to be replaced. When it needs to be replaced, regardless of who we go with, whether it's revenue markets or Easy Pass or Company X, it's going to be in the neighborhood of 1.5 to a $2 million replacement when we do that. That's
Wait a minute, really?
that's the gist of this whole thing. It involves not only the computer itself, it involves the proprietary equipment associated with the entire system.
you have a life expectancy of a piece of equipment like that?
This equipment is far beyond its life expectancy. I forget the time frame, but a couple of years ago, it was over 10 years old, so.
1990s when they installed it.
Maybe 2 or 3.
So we did.
Computer systems.
Well,
would
let me
be-
ask this question, I mean, it's too late to do that. I mean, would it made any difference 2 years ago to, when we did the toll booth system over, to make that change then?
No, you
I mean, I don't wanna second guess anybody that, I mean, I don't wanna spend that money to do that, but,
You would have had the same cost to replace the system itself. The difference in the toll booth redesign is when we redesigned the toll booth, we built a new toll booth so it could accommodate another system like Easy Pass or something like that. We built it to those standards.
and we realize Easy Pass is too expensive for us.
Yes. So what we did is we moved our existing system from its former location to its new location,
Okay,
and that's basically it.
and it's working fine? Let me hear that one.
Yes.
Thank you,
absolutely.
that's it. I don't wanna spend.
Over that long a time, it was installed 1991,
Between 90 or 92. I'm pretty
90 or
sure it was
92, so I'm assuming that there's been some technology upgrades on their part over the period of time.
Yes.
So it's not a totally antique.
The third bullet, updates on software, that stuff goes on regularly.
Updates and so.
There's still some antiquated parts, that, you know, and things that we don't, features that we don't have that probably would enhance our whole booth
Yeah,
collection.
pretty soon, like you see monitors are all touchscreen now. When we get to that, that won't support unless they, I'm not sure, but maybe, but you're gonna get into hardware problems where everything's touchscreen and currently our system doesn't allow that. But they may be able to upgrade into that, but I don't see that happening.
Has there been any, through the years, has there been any add-ons to this contract? Say if they go in there, something's more expensive than what the fee's gonna cover, do they charge us back on anything, or have they did that?
Yes, that, for instance, one time the loop detector, had some wiring issues. Their service would call for them to, to fix that. They had to come up and do that. They had to, remove the wiring from the ground, from the pavement. There was some charges that weren't covered by the, regular maintenance fee in that, like the new wires and
Is that spelled out in the contract?
Yes.
What's covered, what's not covered?
yes.
Okay.
A representative from TRMI contacted me just lately and will be here,
Yes, it does.
to talk about a new product that came out that might be a little less expensive. He indicated that, but he didn't explain it. He will explain it when he's here. But I haven't set up that appointment yet, but he did ask for
Two
one, and I
different
did tell him that I would, be more than willing to, discuss that with him, so.
Fred, what is the yearly Oracle support?
Oh, I believe it's the, connection to our, general ledger, because our general ledger,
Oh, so that's the
Cisco, one of those
final.
things like Cisco.
Okay.
keep them communicating.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Steve,
I'll second.
motion second. Further comments, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us over to page 23. You have a replacement for item B1 that was handed down at the beginning of the meeting for Era Shoes. This is approval of a lease supplement with Era Shoes. It's for 10,122 square feet.
I don't think we're gonna do these until next week.
I thought we were gonna pull these.
Until next week.
We talked about that, there was gonna be a motion to table, to get
Right.
it to the
I'll
next
make a
work
motion to
Yes,
table.
yes, thank you for
Is
that.
there 3 of them in a row, isn't there?
Yeah, do you wanna take them one at a time, or do you wanna take,
I'll make a motion to table this one.
Which one are you talking about? The air shoes first?
Mm-hmm.
B1 Era Shoes?
A second.
We got a second. Any further comments on that? Okay. All in
This
favor?
recommendation is made from the facilities
Yes,
committee.
that's correct. That's correct. All those in favor of that motion? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Are you gonna do the second with Alan Guard Fred, is that what,
Allen Vanguard, item B2 is approval of lease supplement with Allen Vanguard. Straightforward lease agreement, 3% increase, July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014, at the rates, terms, and conditions you see here.
I make a motion to approve.
motion approved? Second, Doug?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Further comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Brings us over to page 27, agenda item B3. This is approval of a supplemental lease with DeFalco Corporation. This is for additional space, storage space in the 12th Industrial Building at a rate of $4.05 per square foot for the period June 1st through May 31st of 2014. You can see the corresponding map on page 28.
This went from a 6-month lease to a 1-year lease, so double the revenue.
It's a zero increase.
Yes, but we convinced them to go from, rather than 6 months to a year, so we got double the rent income.
I don't remember this one. It's just a 6-month thing.
Okay.
Need a motion to accept?
I'll move it.
All right, Doug,
I'll second.
second, or
That's fine.
you want to surrender your
I'll
second?
surrender my.
This is second to Steve. Any comments, questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It brings us over to page 29 and agenda item B4, approval of a supplemental lease agreement with AB Technology. This is a new lease agreement for additional space. You can see the map on page 30 and the rates, terms, and conditions listed in the report.
John, I think that something comes into question here is 0%, 0%, you know, and these type of things, whatever. Explain the justification of no percentage raise whatsoever.
This is additional space, so it's not, there's no increase because it's brand new space that they're renting, so it's new.
Just an add-on to their contract they already
Oh,
have previously.
okay, so that's what it is. All right, I got it now. Thank you.
I make that motion.
All right,
I'll second.
second, Moni, you got it in?
Yeah, I got it.
Girl. Any further comments or questions?
I think it's interesting, just reading this second paragraph, conditions of the lease include a fee of $250 per day. Will be assessed for any materials belonging to, owned, or controlled by AB that are stored outside the lease space. Has there been a problem?
Short answer, yes,
Yeah.
and that will resolve the situation.
And they're still happy to go along with this? Okay.
It's an issue with a lot of our tenants, when you're not building demising walls, they just naturally migrate into a bigger
Things
area.
spill over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, just an effort on our part to convince them to
Well,
stay
it's-
within their confines.
It's
so.
real easy to do in that open area space.
Oh, yeah.
You see all that, I don't know how many thousands of square foot of space, you say, now wait a minute, why can't I just,
Yeah.
wiggle out there a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda like the guy on WKRP in Cincinnati that used to put tape on the floor where his
Yeah,
walls
you
would
see
be if you had an office.
Stay, don't get over that line.
We've done that before too.
This is, have you? Yeah,
Yeah.
really, yeah. Okay, good question, Don. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us over to page 31 and agenda item B5. This is approval of a lease supplement with FedEx Trade Network at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
I'd like to table this.
Okay, motion to table.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll second that.
This come out of facilities?
Yes.
Recommendation, thank you.
No, they didn't go through facilities,
This did?
This did?
No,
no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lease is
I
not
thought
with
that was,
Lease is not with facilities.
okay. That's right, that was the other one, wasn't it? Okay.
why are we tabling this? I just curious.
I want discussion, it's being tabled till next week, you vote on it then, but I want discussion with the board on these particular issues for executive session. In regards to some of the procedures that's been in place for years here. And I wanna make sure the board's,
Okay, just curious.
Other comments, questions? All those in favor of tabling this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That brings us over to an airport hangar lease over on page 34, agenda item C1. This is a transfer and storage agreement with Mr. Frederick Proven.
I make that motion.
Second.
Second. Comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As I mentioned, C2 was held over for later, so that brings us to agenda item D1, approval of a handling and storage agreement with North American Salt. Our salt rates are one of our more sensitive things that we have, so I'd recommend if we want to get into a conversation about the rates, that we go into executive session on that. But in general, from the report and the resolution section here, we've negotiated a handling agreement with North American Salt. Terms of the agreement would be April 1st, 2013 through March 31st, 2018. The rates associated with the salt are attached as Exhibit A on the following page, on page 38.
I do have some questions, not on the contents of this, I think it's fine, but I got some questions in certain areas that I believe actually needs to be in executive session of my concerns, and I'd rather do it in executive session than an open session. But as far as the resolution and stuff, I don't have a problem with it, a couple areas of concerns I have.
So you recommend to vote on this resolution, or you want?
I just assume to table this one until next week too.
All right. Any problem with that, Wade?
No, the existing salt contract has expired. We do have another salt ship coming in, but that's okay. We'll just build it under the expired contract. So that won't be a problem.
Well, that's,
One week won't make a difference.
that's what I'm gonna say, I mean, you wouldn't have this in place until, I can discuss the other in open session, I have no problem, I think it's wrong to do that to the company. Okay, I have some concerns.
I'm not trying to pressure you to put it on now, and what I'm saying is 1 week makes no difference one way or the other.
It might make difference to the board.
Are we tabling till next week when we have our special meeting?
Yes,
Or next month when we have our
next
regular
meeting
meeting?
on next week.
Well,
Each of these items are being tabled until next week,
That's correct.
so that we will have more items on the agenda than just the audit. I just want to mention that because we were talking about some people being restricted for time, and we want to make sure that we have enough people to make that vote. Okay.
Now, I'd like to ask this question, and it's kind of, if they were sitting in the audience, a vendor, and we table that, how would they imply that?
All our agreements are subject to board approval, and all our folks that we negotiate with know that. We make that clear up front.
Okay, but I mean, I'm not saying how I feel, but if I was sitting out there and they say, wait a minute, I came in here for this meeting, I'm waiting for an approval, and all of a sudden you table this, what would I suspect? That something's wrong with me as the vendor, the price, or whatever?
that's why I made it very clear that there's nothing wrong with the resolution, there's nothing wrong with
Okay.
what's been negotiated. There's an issue I wanna discuss with the full board, for somebody to, I don't think it should be out in the public at this time.
Well, I'm just representing the vendor, that's all I'm doing here, I'm just
So
asking the
why
question.
couldn't we table this until after executive session, and then when we reconvene, bring it back to the table? If possible, I guess. I don't understand why we have to wait for a week. Are we having an executive session today?
There is a need for executive session
So-
regarding contractual matters. It's entirely possible, if it was the board's pleasure, you could roll that into the executive session
Makes
today.
sense to me to wait for a week if the issue was resolved in minutes, or.
I wouldn't care.
All right, so obviously, we'll move this to executive session. And then we'll, come out of the executive session, we'll make a decision if we're
We
gonna vote on
want
it
to
or
table it
not.
for a week, whatever.
Beth, you would know exactly if we vote on this motion.
Would that be the
tomorrow?
same for all the three that we've tabled?
No.
No. That's the motion,
I hear
unless you wanna change that motion back. You know,
I just,
okay, let's move on. All right, so we have a motion to table this. Did we second this?
No, we got a motion to go into executive session, come out with a decision
Okay,
afterwards.
I need a second. Ted,
I'll second.
second.
Voice that motion?
Well, actually, could I interject
Go
here?
ahead, yep.
We do have one other business for regular session before we go into.
I know, no, we're not going to executive session, I'm just saying the motion to table this.
Oh,
Table
you're
this
talking.
Yeah,
Table, okay.
Fred withdrew it and moved to go to executive session to
all right,
discuss the
so,
contract.
We'll discuss this, okay.
He
Then
withdrew his
This is
motion,
tabled to executive session,
So-
all right, we have a motion for that, second from
Second.
Mona, all those in favor of that, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
see, I have a problem
I know you do.
with approving one of them that we tabled. And if we're gonna discuss the other two in executive session, why can't we come out and vote on them? Is there other issues that, as a board
There's
member,
other
that I
things we
don't know
gotta talk
about?
about, right.
Okay,
Okay.
There's other issues on that we're gonna talk about.
that's gonna take longer than executive session.
I would
Okay.
say it would be.
All right, I just wanna know as a board member.
Yeah, there's two or three items that are gonna be, say, lengthy, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, let's move to the next one.
Okay, the next one is, item E1, this is, bear with me here, we'll get it in front of me. This is, a separate handout, it's approval of copier lease with an MWBE Enterprise. We received quotes for 2 copiers from Office Systems in Watertown, New York, who's partnered with Repeat Business Systems, who is an MWBE certified enterprise. These copiers would replace the current equipment on hand. Cost savings on this, we ran this through the Facilities Committee earlier today. $2,800 per year savings when compared to the existing rates. And we would be allowed to account for this spending under our MWBE goal reporting, which, point of reference, is 13.6% for the past fiscal year. We needed to be at 20, so we need to continue to move in that direction.
Question occurs to me on this. Repeat is the MWBE enterprise, and Office Systems is partnering with them. Does that MWBE status filter down to them?
We will be paying repeat business.
Okay. And the people in Watertown are just going to do the service and so
Only the
forth?
service, right.
Okay.
The same company that is taking care of them now? Is that
No,
No, different company.
different company?
different company. On the same street, different company.
Did we have demo days of any sort to see if this product would provide us with the same services as the previous product?
This product is actually better. There are the specifications located over on page. It was page 42 of the facilities packet. I'm more than happy to give you a copy of that, Steve.
No, I'm more than happy to accept your answer as yes, that is a decision made. I just wondered if there was a demo day. Generally, they do that so you can touch them, that's all. It's not going to change my vote at all.
We did not get a demonstration.
But on the other hand, these copiers are pretty well established in the market.
It's a known brand, it's not an off-brand or.
What is the date that we start the recalculations for the MWBE?
The first quarter results are due, the
Which
first
one?
quarter of this year are due July 15th.
So when, all right, that's the reporting date, but when do we start, when's the calculation time start? 3 months before that?
No, the calculation will start after
April 1st?
June thirtieth,
After June 30th?
for the period April first through June thirtieth.
All right, so,
I have
so
15
I'm
days.
confused about a couple things here, whatever. If this was the first contract, all right, would we calculate the percentage of what this is, or as the percentage of contracts that are presented? So in other words, could this be calculated as 1%? Or right now, since this is the first contract, that's really 100%, because that's the only contract that we really emphasize or what do you say, agreed to.
We have to take our total spend, for
Well, right-
the period April first through June thirtieth,
For everything.
for everything, all of our discretionary spending,
So it's an ongoing number.
yes.
It's an ongoing,
Yes.
okay. So it doesn't go, this is the first one, whatever, we don't show that, wow, wait a minute, we've only done one, this is the only one, and it's 100%, but then we don't do it that way. That's calculated by the total overall.
There's rules established by
Okay,
the,
all right. So I mean, I'm
ESD.
just kinda like, oh, good, we got the first one coming out of the gate, we got it, okay, no. No, all right. It's a funny world, eh? All right. We need a motion.
I move the resolution.
Don, move it.
I'll second.
Move second. Further comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And now we need a motion to an executive session?
Yes, there's a reason for executive session, matters of litigation, matters leading to contractual appointment, and financial considerations.
Okay.
I'd make the motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second, Don, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to take at least a 5-minute break before we go into executive session.
There we go.
Okay, let the record show that we've just returned from the executive session, and, Wade, we have a resolution that we need to address.
Yes, it's item D1, page 37 of your report. This is approval of a storage and handling agreement with North American Salt. Term of the agreement is April 1st, 2013 through March 31st, 2018, at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you in Exhibit A.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, after lengthy discussion in executive session in regards to personal issues on that, I would make a motion that we approve it as is.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mona, you'll second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I make a motion that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
All the no's are what? Illegal? Something like that?
Out of order.
Out of order, that's what it was. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And there is no further business.
Okay, very good.